Hello. I'm teaching a course at McDaniel College just now. It's a first-year seminar called The Psychology of Violence and Nonviolence. And we've been looking at just war theory lately. And my students asked me to say something about the relationship between nonviolence, the way I view it, and just war theory. So this is a very brief answer to those questions. And I thank my students for formulating this extension of what I've already said in another video about it. Let me share my screen and show you a couple of slides. Here is a very simple characterization of just war theory. I'm not going through all the details of just ad bello and just in bello and just post bello right now. But basically, the theory is meant to distinguish between what's just and what's unjust in a war. It more or less takes the inevitability of war as a given. So this branching structure starts with war, and I'll just say, probably in an oversimplified fashion, that it's trying to distinguish what's just and what's unjust in a war. Just war theory favors just as opposed to unjust, naturally. So where does nonviolence come in? Well, here's another slide. This is from my perspective, of course. There are some forms of nonviolence that are sort of strictly pacifist. They would never say that war is appropriate under any circumstances. But I'm more in the tradition of Martin Luther King and Gandhi, who allowed that there was a place for self-defense, really, in some cases. And there's another video that talks about self-defense. But from my point of view, a nonviolence perspective is quite broad. It includes just war theory. Just war theory is represented by what's in the box here. But in a nonviolence perspective, it's not war that's inevitable. It is conflict. And conflict may be normal. It may not be something that we don't have to think about very much. If war is seen as an option, future direction for the conflict, then we want to ask, are there any alternatives? And nonviolence says, yes, there are lots of nonviolent alternatives. And they really need more emphasis in public policy and international policy and in our education system, because this is almost totally missing from education at present. Thinking about nonviolence pushes the threshold for war higher. So how you define the last resort when all you've got left is war changes when you've got a nonviolent mindset and you're thinking about those nonviolent alternatives for solving problems and for resolving conflicts. However, in some instances, hopefully very rare instances, war may be necessary, just as in some rare instances, violent self-defense may be necessary. And if that occurs, then it still must meet the conditions, the criteria laid out by just war theory. So that's a perspective on how nonviolence and just war theory relate to each other. And I hope that that is helpful. I invite comments, of course, on any of these ideas, but I think that that is a realistic and uh, uh, it's a way of incorporating just war theory into our conception of nonviolence in a way that appreciates all of the thinking and work that has gone into that earlier um, theory that has so many centuries of history behind it. If you like this short video, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and I'll be back soon.